Hi everyone, my name's Matt, and with me is Jack and Oscar. I've been dealing with idiopathic recurrent acute pancreatitis for about 5.5 years. It started in June of 2014. Since then, there's been at least 20 hospitalizations, about 120 days in the hospital, countless procedures, ERCPs, EGDs, endoscopies, colonoscopies. The gallbladder is gone. I've had lots of other tests. And they still can't figure out the cause. Everything, all of the big ticket items have been ruled out. Alcohol was ruled out. Triglycerides surprisingly were ruled out. I have a history of hypertriglyceridemia, but it's been under control this entire time. So that has not been a problem. Gallstones, the poor gallbladder was fine the entire time, but it's gone. And the first year and a half, maybe 2 years I dealt with this, I was extremely sick, had a hard time simply getting out of bed or getting off the couch. And I was on pain meds. I was on MS-Contin and Dilaudid around the clock for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. And finally it got to a point where I kind of was suspecting that my pain was subsiding. So I tried to taper down, but it was darn near impossible. So I checked myself into a rehab program to get off the stuff, and they put me on Suboxone, and I found an awesome Suboxone provider who convinced me that I didn't need to stay on the stuff for the rest of my life like the rehab doctors had told me, and spent a grueling 6-month period constantly tapering down from the max dose to the tiniest sliver that I could take. But I have been opiate free for 2 years now, with the exception of hospitalizations. I started to make a comeback last year. I started to feel a little bit better. I started exercising again. The big thing that really has made a significant difference for me is rucking. And rucking is basically just hiking in anywhere. It's, think of it as a backpack on steroids. And you put weight in it and you walk quickly with a purpose for indefinite distances and periods of time, and it's been phenomenal. It's easier on the body than running, and it burns more calories and strengthens the body better than just walking alone. And so far this year with rucking, I believe I've rucked about 1,100 miles so far this year. I've done a lot of Go Ruck events, sporting one of my favorite shirts here. I successfully completed the 50-mile event in DC back in May. That was a doozy. That was 54 miles overall. And we had 20 hours to complete it. We did it in 19 hours and 45 minutes. It was grueling. I'll do it again, hopefully someday. Yeah, this year has been a drastic turnaround. I've still ended up in the hospital. I was in the hospital in February and June and July, and ended up in the ER for just ER visit in the end of July. But when I go to the hospital, I take the ruck with me. I ruck along the hospital halls. We all know that when we get there, they want us to get out of bed, they want us to walk. So I wear my ruck. And again, because we all know how ridiculously boring a hospital stay is. And I'm fidgety and can't sit still. I'm up and roaming the halls around the clock pretty much. My record is somewhere around, I think it's a little over 170 laps I did in about, I think it was 36 to 48 hours, something like that. That was back in February. I just couldn't stop rucking. Just wanted to keep walking and walking and walking. And the more I rucked and the more I fought through the pain, the more pride I felt, and the more of a sense of accomplishment I had. And it was an incredible experience. A couple things that have helped me tremendously throughout this battle. One was seeing a naturopath doctor, because I wasn't getting answers from my doctors. We couldn't figure out what any of the triggers were. So my last hospitalization, I was living in Seattle at the time. The nutritionist that was assigned to me slid me a business card and said, "Hey, look, you really should just go see my friend. She's a naturopath doctor. She's amazing. She might be able to help you find something out." So I had nothing to lose. I went to go see her, and she did a huge blood allergy panel. Come to find out, I have an anaphylactic allergy to beef. Didn't see that coming. And I knew I had some sensitivities to dairy, but I did not know that they were about a 7 out of 10. So I've eliminated those two things from my diet, and it's made a huge difference. It's tough. It's extremely tough going without dairy. I call myself a part-time vegan because I can still eat wild game. I can still eat chicken and pork, in moderation, of course. And the dairy, I miss it on pizzas, but I don't miss ice cream or anything like that. Some cheeses, I used to like some cheese out there. There was a Tillamook cheese factory near where we used to live in Oregon, and they had some amazing stuff, but don't miss it. The other thing was, and I credit this woman for saving my life, I was starting to experience not just the standard left upper quadrant pain, but the strange right upper quadrant pain as well. And no one was really taking it seriously, which I found kind of bizarre. I had one doctor that did a liver biopsy, and it came back normal. I had technically had fatty liver, but it wasn't. It was mild. But I had this test done, and I think the brand is called GeneSight, and found out that I do not have the enzyme CYP2D6, and 7 of the drugs that they had me on at that time were metabolized through CYP2D6. I contacted my pain doctor and my primary care physician. We changed the drugs over to alternatives that I could actually metabolize. And that strange left upper quadrant pain went away completely in about 72 hours. It was amazing. Aside from that, what was even more significant was the fact that I had clarity of thought again, which I hadn't had in months. I had to get a full power of attorney for Christine, my wife, because I just couldn't communicate with anyone. It was awful. So 5.5 years, about 120 days in the hospital. Having a positive mindset is the number one priority. It's easy to slip into severe depression with this, which I've experienced several times before and during this. And I also deal with chronic fatigue at times. I have the usual digestive issues. I have to be careful, like everyone else with this. I have to be careful with, extremely careful with how much or what I eat, how much fat I consume, and of course alcohol consumption is extremely dangerous, and I got to be careful with that. But exercising, doing just a little bit whenever I can, makes a huge difference for my body. just from the standard musculoskeletal perspective, physiological perspective, the exercise is amazing. It's excellent for my mind. It's excellent for keeping the pancreatitis symptoms at bay. It gives me a huge feeling of accomplishment when I go and when I ruck, and when I'm able to go out and go long distances and do things like that. But that is it. Here is the ruck that I use. This is a Go Ruck rucker. When we do these events, we earn patches. This one is the one I'm the most proud of. This is what I got for walking 54 miles around Washington, D.C. a few months ago. I keep this one with me at all times too, because as a veteran and as someone who deals with a chronic disease, veteran suicide is way too common. 22 veterans a day lose their lives, take their lives from suicide. Hydration bladder. The cool thing about the rucker is this is where you stow your plate, and this is a standard 20-pound Go Ruck plate. So this is what makes rucking, having the weight inside the backpack. I love it. I have a lot of fun with this stuff. I've met hundreds of amazing people just this year alone from this. It's been incredible. And thank you for watching.